What's up everyone, welcome back to Smith Reacts. Today's video is a serious one. We are reacting to a political discussion coming out of Jamaica that's been getting a lot of attention, touching on governance, healthcare, education, housing, and how public funds are being used. You know, the regular things that impact us on a daily basis. Before we start, full credits to the original creator of the video. I highly recommend that you go watch the original footage. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button as we get into it. Watch this and I'll be back with more commentary afterwards.
Indeed, the concept of minimum wage was the setting of the first setting of the minimum wage was done, I think it's 74, Michael Manley and the People's National Party. Now, Mr. President, we need to be careful how we allow for people to be used as props, especially within the Parliament. We need to resist the belief that the Prime Minister seemed to have, that resources of the nation can be used as he so pleases as gifts to individuals without policies. I give, for example, peanut dread. Radam, I know somebody went to the Prime Minister in his effort to be cool. I know you don't know peanut dread. He's not that cool. And maybe he didn't know that peanut dread said that he had an injury through an accident that he could not afford to get fixed at the hospital. I said to myself, how Peanut Dread can't afford healthcare when healthcare is free? So maybe Peanut Dread knows that it is a lie being sold, that healthcare is free, because you almost have to pay for every single thing when you actually get there. So the policy that, oh, we have free healthcare, when there is no healthcare, that should have been fixed when Peanut Dread came here, because that are the things. There are others like him who might not make the Prime Minister popular, but who are in same circumstance. So the People's National Party wants to tell Peanut Dread and others like him that we have proposed from our last manifesto that there should be a national health insurance. And when I spoke to the current leader, the man said, go and go shoot it, man, because we still believe in the national health insurance. We got from a large insurance company a calculation of what that will cost. And they stated some of the benefits of this national health insurance. And one of what it costs, you like this 1 year Senator Grant. Office.
Senator who? Senator who?
Grant, Mr. Maybe. don't disturb me when you see me in our flow. Just accept anything but office visits. At least it's only the names losing him, but follow the concepts. Office visits. You can go on 4 office visits for just a co-pay of $800. Right? You have 10 visits per disability. You have things like 10 visits per disability, gynecologist visits. You have 80% of your medicine. All of that was for approximately $18 billion in their calculation. You even have dental in it. What is taking this government so long to have a proposal for discussion?
Yes.
For us to say that we can do this for our people. The best thing for out of the $1 trillion, because I don't want you to say we are now moving towards fiscal indiscipline. I talk about within the $395 billion that you had, we would have taken $18 billion out of it. Indeed, the People's National Party, as proved here, had it in our manifesto. The young lady that was carried as well and being paraded, I think the Bible says that when you give with your left, your right hand shouldn't know, or when you give with your right, your left hand shouldn't know. But the Prime Minister now have this young lady making advertisements making advertisements when she was a victim of the Prime Minister's decision. The Prime Minister decided to act as he acted.
On a point of order, Mr. President. That is misleading the Senate. She was a victim of fraud by a gang selling land illegally attached to the Klansman gang. She was not a victim of the Prime Minister. That must be withdrawn. It is not appropriate.
With respect, the Prime Minister came to this Parliament and said he had given instructions
to tear down an illegally built structure on stolen land by a gang that was attached to your side.
He was the one
He was not an abuser, and you cannot do that. The statement must be withdrawn, Mr. President.
Mr. President,
the statement must be withdrawn.
He said no.
The statement must be withdrawn. The statement must be withdrawn. The statement must be withdrawn. You can't tell me anything. The statement is inaccurate and it is a lie. It must be pulled back, Mr. President.
What's your ruling, sir?
The minister, I'm sorry. The minister, Samuda, pointed out that the Prime Minister did not give any instructions as suggested by...
To demolish her house?
To demolish her house.
To demolish her house?
Let me finish now. I don't think that... I think that Senator Crawford's proposition is such that any right-thinking person listening to it would not in any way be misled. So he can continue.
You know what, Mr. President?
You know my wife?
You know what, Senator Lambert?
You want another presiding officer, you know?
Nobody gonna stop my stride. Nobody gonna slow me down. Oh no. I got to keep. No, all I'm saying is that the house that was demolished was based on decisions made. All the realities that should have been considered remain the same. So nothing has changed in the decisions that were in her circumstance. At that time, she was a victim of fraud. At that time, all the other things that are still the same wasn't considered in a alternative thing than licking down her house. So therefore, I don't understand. That is why they call him the demolition man. Now, let's go to some of the things that we don't necessarily agree. And I'm coming to completion. Heart trust. The separation of Heart from the Ministry of Education is indeed baffling. And now Heart is in the Prime Minister's office, and there has been constant failings, including some of the unrest that we're seeing in the media today. But I indeed am a true supporter of Heart. The photo you're seeing here is 28th of November 2009. As president of the PMPYO, we awarded Mr. Siaga an award for his input and his concept of, that's me as a younger Rasta of Heart. But more so, if you look at some of these photos, that is me going to Heart. As a member of Parliament, I attended Heart. And I know, you visited that site. And I have a certification in steel bending. I can make stirrup, I can make mutton, I can make all these things. No, I was taking the young men of East Rural, so therefore I went to encourage them to go. You have to work. You have to work. No, I'm telling you, I can go to Canada anytime. So I am encouraging the young people to take up Heart because they were excellent teachers. Excellent teachers. And they came to the community and were willing to do projects in the community while they were training. So I must say. However, grand announcements re Heart tuition and admin fees being removed is fool's gold. Fool's gold. Everybody's excited about it, but so is everybody excited about fool's gold. Hanover is an example. The Prime Minister announced that up to level 4, tuition fees and admin fees will be removed. That's great. Let's see now. We need to go no further than pronouncements made in today's Observer. What does the pronouncement say in today's Observer? Managing Director of Heart Trust, NSTA, Dr. Tanisha Ingleton, in the article titled Heart Ready to Grow, Ingleton told the Jamaica Observer that based on the announcements, the entity will be expecting a loss of $58.7 million. So $58.7 million reduction in institutional income. She went further to state that the target pre-announcement was 117,000 enrollments. Quick calculation shows that $58 million in losses is $502 per person. $502 per person. The Prime Minister came with $1 trillion budget. Made a big song and dance when the vast majority of people were paying nothing in the first place. There were only admin fees for level 2 and 3. And if you pay one time, you don't pay again. And then at level 4, only some courses had a fee of 20,000, maximum 60,000. The ones that have the largest fee, level 5, is not up to level 4. But it is celebrated because we all want something to happen for these young people. What value is this grand announcement? 58 million in $1 trillion budget? Yes. Because what it's doing now is set us up to castigate the youths that them worthless when nothing has changed for them. Nothing has changed. Now there is a waiting list currently. Let us look at one of them that train for the major industry that we have. That is hotel and tourism, Runaway Bay. They have a waiting list of approximately 2,000 people currently. Before the excitement and the this and the that, they have a waiting list. No, with all the new hotels that we build, there should be a second heart like Runaway Bay to expand that training. There's second. Let me give you my plan for heart as a art man. Eh? As a art graduate. I don't think the Prime Minister can say he's a art graduate. You have approximately 170 high schools in Jamaica, secondary schools, approximately 170. I said that we should do 50 per year. We give them $100 million to build out their TVET program. Because you know that the heart of $15 billion each year. It gets 15 billion coming to it each year. So you just said that. So we are in agreement. So therefore, instead of 58 million, let us really change this country by putting within the secondary schools 5 billion a year. In 4 years, every secondary school will gone. And they will then build out their TVET infrastructure. They call it their TVET laboratory. Because technical subjects need some form of these skills. Let us build out their TVET laboratories. Now, these schools will then open at 5 p.m. to accept adults for evening school. Again, there's a good model that exists with the Stats St. Andrew Technical High School that have their full adult evening school after 5, like 5 to 9. Now, what that will also do is to increase accessibility, because if the Prime Minister thinks that $3,000 was a deterrent for 1 year, you imagine that a person have to find a way to get there. And congratulations to Heart give you lunch. So therefore, we're saying, let us take the next 4 years and build out the TVET infrastructure within the secondary schools. Because you know what, Senator Mayor? The infrastructure of schools is one of the most inefficient infrastructure investments in this country. The infrastructure of school is used basically from 8 to 4, 8 months, Monday to Friday. And all of that investment then lay until either a political meeting I keep or somebody want to use it. It's an underutilized infrastructure. So if we should now extend the utility of the infrastructure by putting in the TVET laboratories, imagine how accessible 200 new entities that is what announcement is, not $502. No. Additionally, we should take the 11 billions being bamboozled from the NHT over the next 4 years to build dormitories in these schools that will allow our students from wherever to attend one of the schools with the TVET specialization that they're interested in. Because you can't put every TVET in every school. So you have to really know, make this one, these 10 is that, and these 10 is that, and these 10 is that. So a person of this interest now, he then now goes and become a resident. I asked a contractor to tell me how much $200 million can do. He says, basically, a dormitory, $1 million per student, is reasonable, a reasonable expectation. So if you put 200 million in our school, you can put a dormitory for 200 children. Now you imagine how we can change this country when we can separate some of our at-risk youths from the influence of these communities and put them. We had that plan in the 70s when they used to go up to some of these areas and stay. That is how we change nations.
Transformative.
That's how we change nations. So therefore, I am not in celebratory mode because we are removing $58 million out of a $1 trillion budget, averaging $502 per person. That is in itself ridiculous. And I think I will have support from the Prime Minister. Because the Prime Minister said, and I'm not being unkind to the Prime Minister, I'm just using his words. Oh, I go on, I'll see my something chip out there too. Yeah, sabotage. The Prime Minister said, and I quote, for heart, my heart plan, yes. Oh, before I go to the Prime Minister, I'm going to go to Minister Clark after that. I'm suggesting you go to Minister Clark and ask him for $30 billion to facilitate monthly stipends of $25,000 to every youth in heart that maintains attendance records and a grade point average. Not new money, not fiscal indiscipline, but from the $395 billion. If you think that's too much, allow me to quote from the Heart Trust NSTA 2022-2026 strategic plan. The strategic plan, it says, a ranking of 135th, was attained for organized crime and 148th for homicide rates per 100,000 people, population. Violence has resulted in a chaotic existence for many families and businesses and has stifled economic and social development. Data from the Inter-American Bank 2014 indicates that crime costs Jamaica approximately 3.99% of GDP. A coordinated multidimensional approach is needed to tackle the scourge of crime and violence in Jamaica, and Heart's role in developing the labor force through globally competitive training and employment of the crime strategy. So if we can induce participation, and a person who have to go hustle, how am I going to go hard? A person who have a look at youth and have to send something, how am I going to go hard? So therefore, I believe that if we could give them a $25,000 per month, it will take that thing. But the Prime Minister should agree. Mr. President, there's absolutely no reason, no excuse for the government with the circumstances we currently face to still be taking $11 billion per year from NHT. Senator Bunting, I want your local attention for this one. I see they say, in X time, Minister Davis said no new taxes, but he wasn't taking $11 billion from NHT. What we have now is a continuation of taking $11 billion from the NHT to buttress the budget. So when we jump and say no new taxes, we should remind the people that the benefits that they could get from NHT is not being possible to the equal extent, because over the period of the Jamaica Labour Party, they must have gone 80 billion by now. You say we started.
And you have done much more.
Yeah, man, but he once again he opens the door. When we started it, the Prime Minister, when we started it, he threatened to go to court, claiming it was unconstitutional. But then in 2017, the Prime Minister said, and I quote, "It should be clear to the entire Jamaica that is not the intention of government to use up the NHT money to do things other than build housing. This is 2017, I quote. I quote. To do anything other than houses. He then says, I don't mind if you win a political battle, that well, he broke his promise, or well, he can't be trusted, or whatever. You want to win in a political battle, that's fine, go ahead, win it. This is the person that said his philosophy is that NHT money should not be spent other than for houses. And now we continue even without the need. Without the need to take and take and take and take under the claim that we can say no new taxes. Then if the NHT money doesn't remain in the trust, then the NHT money, that portion is now a tax. That is a tax. It was a trust first. That is why the trust used to set up on the benefit, and now it just got to the consolidated fund. We have to be careful what we do. Yeah, he did say that.
He says it's a financial institution.
Now, if you look throughout the promises that they assume that they have proposed, the thread is the same. After exorbitant increase in traffic fines targeted affecting mainly the transport operators, they're going to propose a benefit of approximately $4,000 a year. And they assume that that did it. But no, that didn't did it. And that didn't do it. In the charge of a tint is $500,000. Additionally, they would like the...
That's not so. I don't think it's $500,000 for... I saw that, but I checked it and I don't think it's right.
All right, I'll accept I doesn't have all the numbers.
No, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. The fee...
I know you're not sure, sir.
That thin thing, that come out in the social media and say it was 500 and then some.
So you have corrected.
No,
and I will accept.
I'm just saying that you need to check.
Now that you challenge it, I will check.
No, not challenge it. I just...
But I'm going to confirm to you that the point remains the same. That the exorbitant increases in fees will not did it for the taximan when it is wiped away. Didn't did it. He didn't did it. They would like the youths that they seek favor and connection with the yang culture by claiming they're giving away helmets without reminding them that it's illegal still to buy a bike without helmets.
Oh, yes.
Now that I'm sure of, because I pointed that out. That how can it be illegal to buy a bike without at the same time buy a helmet? So if the Prime Minister gives youth A helmet and he goes to buy a second bike, youth A haven't benefited from the Prime Minister's helmet. No. He now have to go buy a new bike. So I expect you come to change this now with this new proposal that you're going to be giving helmets away. We will pay dearly, I put it to you, for the way we negotiated with our teachers. Mr. President, in 2020-2021, resignation 723 teachers. In 2021-2022, resignation 1,310 teachers, almost double. The impact isn't reflected in the numbers because one teacher is responsible in the secondary entities for up to 160 children. A teacher teaching 4 classes, which is the norm, 2 10th grade, 2 11th grade, is going to have in each class 40 students. So every time you have a teacher missing, that is going to be 160 students. What do we have now? We have today's date, about 2 months from CXC, that schools are still in the Sunday paper advertising 6 spaces and 7 spaces. And what we have done is to make Jamaica uncompetitive for the services of our teachers, and also that we have increased the intent in the way that the negotiations were handled for our teachers to migrate. This have been captured. Mr. President, this is a poll budget that was aimed to take advantage of the lack of information, a poll budget in the public. But if you think that did it, you made a sad mistake. I asked the taximen, and they respond 4 grand after taking 400 grand. No, it didn't did it. I asked the youth who have given up on the prosperity plan, do you think it did it? They say no, it didn't did it. I asked the grand announcements, did it? If they said making what's already free, it didn't do it for me. I asked the teachers, did it? They told me to ask their travel agents because it didn't did it. I asked the children getting 1 lunch per week, did it? They say no, it didn't did it. I asked the entertainment practitioners who can't get a permit due to daily states of emergency, did it? No, it didn't did it. I asked the single mothers. And Mr. President, I asked the posters. And the unfortunate answers will be no, Mr. H, no, Mr. C. This budget did not did it for me. Respect and thank you.
Wow, those were very many valid points there. Thank you for watching with me until the end. Senator Damion Crawford didn't hold back at all. What stood out immediately is that this wasn't just noise or political theatrics. He came with specific examples, numbers, and policies. Whether you agree to him or not, this was a serious critique of how Jamaica is being governed. Let's start with healthcare. One of the strongest points raised was this idea of free healthcare. You know, on paper it sounds good, yes, free healthcare. But in reality, people are still paying for tests, medications, and basic services. If healthcare is truly free, why are citizens still struggling to afford treatment? The proposal for a national health insurance plan actually made sense, covering doctors' visits, specialist care, and most medication. That's the kind of policy conversation people want to hear. Another major issue raised was the use of national resources. When government assistance looks selective or personalized instead of policy-based, it creates mistrust. The example brought up about people still being unable to afford healthcare despite claims of free services really highlights the gap between government messaging and lived reality. The housing issue was hard to ignore. It was very hard to ignore. You know, when decisions are made without considering alternative solutions, the people affected are always the most vulnerable. Policies shouldn't just be legal, they should be humane. That's where leadership is really tested. Now, let's talk education, because this part was very deep. The concerns about Heart Trust and STA being moved away from the Ministry of Education raised serious questions about accountability. Calling the removal of fees fool's gold, fool's gold was controversial, but the argument was that most people weren't paying those fees anyway, so the real impact is minimal. What actually impressed me was the alternative plan proposed. The idea of investing directly into secondary schools, building out TVET programs, opening facilities in the evenings for adults, and even creating dormitories that's long-term thinking right there. It's long-term. That's not just about politics. That's about economic survival and skill development. That's how you reduce crime, unemployment, and migration over time. It's a solid plan. The discussion about the National Housing Trust was one of the most serious points. Talking billions annually from NHT funds while claiming no new taxes raises a very big question. Who is really paying the price? Who is paying the price? When citizens contribute expecting house benefits and house funds are redirected, trust is broken. Another thing is the teacher migration numbers were very alarming. When educators leave in large numbers, it's not because they want to, it's because they feel undervalued. If Jamaica can't compete regionally or internationally for teachers, the system will keep bleeding talent. That's not sustainable. Calling the budget a poll budget was very bold actually. The argument is that many policies rely on the public not fully understanding the numbers. And when everyday groups, taxi drivers, young people, single mothers, creatives, when they don't feel relief, then something isn't connecting. I actually find Crawford as someone willing to challenge power. And whether you agree or disagree, accountability is necessary in any democracy. And loving Jamaica doesn't mean ignoring its problems. You have to speak out. And Damion Crawford is speaking out. At the end of the day, Jamaica is globally respected. Respect on the world stage doesn't fix problems at home, of course. But conversations like this are uncomfortable but very important. Sometimes important conversations may seem uncomfortable, but they are actually crucial. This is why I know Damion Crawford as one of Jamaica's most fearless voices in politics. Someone who just doesn't criticize. He actually understands education, policy, and grassroots struggles. If you are watching this, you are in Jamaica, just let me in the comments. Do you agree with Crawford's arguments? Thank you for watching, and subscribe to the channel because I'll be back with more important discussions so that we can react to it together. Thank you.